Hello and welcome to this week's edition of Newsgram. Today I thought it would be fun to jump right into a new character, one that I hope you're going to enjoy meeting. His name is Dan the Ambulance Man, and he's the creation of children's book author Dan Eaton. Now Dan is always ready to assist those in need, whether it's at a football game, a theme park, or just during any everyday situation. Dan is also a role model for children because he teaches them the importance of emergency services, and he does it in a fun and reassuring way.
The reason why I wanted to do it this way is because not many people know, particularly young children, and also parents as well, they don't know what paramedics do. They go to casualties when they get injured or ill. They treat whatever they find, and then they take you off to hospital.
That simple explanation, it's perfect for young children. And Paul should know, he served as a healthcare professional in the West Midlands in England with extensive experience in emergency services.
What I wanted to bring with the books is that paramedics and doctors aren't nasty ogres, that they're there to help. In the 4 years that I was a paramedic, I dealt with loads of children. When a stranger turns up in a big ambulance with blue lights going and sirens, and then these paramedics walk in with all their equipment, children, particularly young children, get really scared. They don't know what's happening. They don't know what the paramedics are going to do. And not only that, I wanted to bring that point home for the parents as well. When I've dealt with children in the home, the parents, particularly if it's a serious case, the parents get really scared as well.
Drawing from his background in emergency care, Paul Eaton didn't just create Dan the Ambulance Man. He built an entire series of children's books that offer real insight into the world of emergency responders. These stories shed light on the daily responsibilities of paramedics, a role he once used to really enjoy until his life took an unexpected turn.
I'd sustained a severe head injury and I couldn't drive a vehicle anymore. When you're a paramedic in England, I don't know whether it's the same in America, but when you're a paramedic in England, even though you're with a crew partner, you take it in turns to drive. So they said, I'm sorry, Paul, but there's no way that we can sanction you driving anymore. So I took retirement on medical grounds. And then I went back to my old career, which was a first aid instructor. And I was teaching members of the public, people at workplace first aid, defibrillator, the automatic defibrillator, health and safety, handling and lifting, you name it, I did it.
And so his new series of books is just another way for Paul to give back to his community and to continue to help people in brand new ways. In the first book, we meet Percy Bunn the Baker, but then in book 2, we meet Lucy Bandage, another first aider that joins Dan to help out at a public event.
The third one is Dan the Ambulance Man Goes to the Football Match. And the fourth one is Dan the Ambulance Man Goes to the Theme Park.
In that one, everything seems to be going smoothly until Timothy Tornado and George Gander encounters some trouble. Dan's quick response in an unexpected situation helps to save the day. No matter what the scenario, Dan is a calm, capable presence, especially for young children who might be frightened by emergencies or emergency personnel. The stories and illustrations are all designed to normalize the presence of emergency workers and to show that help is always nearby. So let's take a look at the first book, Dan the Ambulance Man meets Percy Bunn the Baker. Dan arrives at the scene of a bakery fire to help Percy, who has inhaled too much smoke.
There's a picture in the first book, the bakery on fire, and the firemen are there putting the fire out. One of the firemen sees your casualties over there. So Dan the Ambulance Man goes over. He puts an oxygen mask on the face of Percy Bunn the Baker because he's having trouble breathing because they're breathing in a lot of smoke. And it says in the book, in the story, that this will help him to breathe. It's oxygen. And then he said that he examined the rest of his body while he's in the ambulance. And when he got to his tummy, Percy winced. And he said when Dan examined it, he had a bad burn on his tummy. So he said, I'm just going to put a burn dressing on that. We'll get you off to hospital. The next scene is where they arrive at hospital. Dan, the ambulance man's wheeling the casualty in. There's a drawing of the doctor as well.
I think it's good storytelling, and it introduces children to medical procedures in a non-threatening way, even an inspiring way. Dan is basically a bridge, connecting kids to the helpers in their community.
As I said, we're not nasty people. We're not out to cause harm. We're there to help and take them to hospital if they need to go to hospital. Also, maybe if it inspires a young child now to be a paramedic, a doctor, or a nurse, then those are the points that I wanted to bring across.
So whether it's a bump, a burn, or just a scary moment, Dan the ambulance man reminds kids that help is on the way, and it often comes with kindness, calm, and a little bit of courage. All of Paul Eaton's books are now available online, and we've put some links for you in the show's description to make it easier. Stay safe out there, and remember that help is always on the way. And most of all, thanks for listening to this edition of Newsgram from webtalkradio.com.